Sir, welcome. Now, as most of you know, business in the community has been working closely with polar explorer Pen Hadow and the team at the Catlin Arctic Survey, a pioneering expedition to measure the ice and snow thickness of the Arctic ice sheet, of which His Royal Highness is a patron.
Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is an international distress signal from the Arctic Ocean. There is going to be imminent loss of life. The sea ice in the region of the North Pole is thinning and it's shrinking fast. Very soon there will no longer be sea ice on the top of our planet, one of the defining surface features of our planet from deep space. Now is the time to act. Don't wait for the ultimate proof. This is a Mayday distress signal. Mayday, Mayday, Mayday.
It's 2:30 a.m. in the Arctic. Fingers crossed, we're going to have Pen on the line. Pen, have we got you?
Yes, you have, Stephen.
Well, Pen, good afternoon, or I guess for you, a very good morning to you. It's Steve here speaking to you from the Prince's May Day Summit in London, where His Royal Highness has just joined us. So can I start by sending you, Anne, and Martin our very best wishes and the best wishes of His Royal Highness and all of those who are taking part in this event today from so many different venues. Now, Pen, we understand you've had some pretty rough weather conditions in your last little bit here, and you've had some challenges getting your new supplies coming in. So the first question we would all like to ask you is, how are you and the team holding up?
Well, I think it's fair to say that my team with Anne and Martin has proven to be unbreakable by the conditions that we've had over the last couple of months, and even some of the situations that we've been involved with, which have been extreme. Without staring down the barrel of looking at our socks in a rather unloving way, with a view to boiling them up and seeing what nutritional value we can extract from them as we wait for our resupply, which is nearly a week overdue now.
Well, I won't tell you what we're having here for lunch today then. Now,
thank you.
Pen, you've been on this trek for 61 days on the ice now. Tell us what you're finding.
Well, we've taken over 12,000 observations and 200 specific drillings through the sea ice to measure its thickness. So the average thickness that we are reporting to date is about 1 meter 77 centimeters. Now, the scientific community, if one can generalize, has been expecting this to be more like 3 meters in thickness. What this means is that the sea area that we have been traveling in is covered by what is known as first-year ice. That means that this sea area was, where the sea ice formed originally, was open water last summer, and it has frozen over the autumn and winter and spring, and it will probably not be thick enough at 1 meter 77 to survive this coming summer's melt. So even some of the most aggressive forecasts of how quickly this sea ice is likely not to be with us, it's being superseded by events.
So you're looking, Pen, firsthand at the direct result of this climate change, it sounds like. What can you tell us about the urgency of this situation?
Well, the sea ice in the North Pole region that covers the Arctic Ocean is probably the single biggest visual manifestation, the biggest clue, really, that we will have of the effects of a warming planet. And I think that the things that fall out of a sea ice cover that is no longer permanent or perennial technically, and becomes a seasonal feature on the surface of our planet, it would include, but there's not actually, but there are many things that could happen, but would include global or accelerated global sea level rise, it's an extreme change in the ecosystem, which would affect hundreds of species from the start of the food chain right through to our friends the polar bears, the walrus, and so on. And that's most disturbingly changes in weather patterns around the world, which frankly are unpredictable at this stage. There's not enough information known, which is of course partly why we're here, to gather more information for the scientific community. So I think it's fair to say that there are not just hundreds of species that are at risk, but more particularly, perhaps, there are tens, even literally hundreds of millions of people who are living in coastal regions who will feel the effects of this. And of course, when one talks about weather changes, one talking about rainfall in part, and that is water supplies, and water stress is now one of the big issues globally.
And thank you for that. You know, doing what you and Anne and Martin are doing takes a huge amount of experience, guts, and determination. We all take our hats off to you without saying that. Although none of us in this room are equipped or qualified to lead an expedition like you're on, I think everyone in this room today and listening in around the world are leaders. Any final thoughts for us on what our role and responsibility should be in this climate change crisis?
Well, I hesitate to give too much advice to the caliber of people you have gathered there, but what I would say is that I feel that leaders in business are largely responsible for the value systems of their organizations, and the decisions that they make and the visions that they lead their organizations towards does not just affect the employees, which tends to be often the measure of the impact of something like the Mayday Network Initiative and the 2,000 people that you have there. It's not just the employees, it's the investors, it's the customers, and of course it's the supply chains, the suppliers around the world. And I see the decisions that are made in people's minds today will affect tens and hundreds of millions of people around the world. There's an enormous influence with the people sitting at these conferences today, and I would urge them not to discount the fact that they simply are responsible for a relatively small number of people. How does that possibly make a difference? The time is now, and the place that they are in is right there to make the decisions. Today is the day to start gripping the situation and make a difference to tackling global climate change.
Well, Ben, thank you so much for that. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Thank you for being such an example and leader on this subject. What you're doing is truly an inspiration for us all. The science is critical, and let's hope it's given full weight at Copenhagen in December. And we all look forward to seeing you all return safe and sound. So on behalf of His Royal Highness, indeed on behalf of all of us taking part in this Prince's May Day Summit today across the country and across the world, we wish you good traveling conditions and a safe and onward journey. Godspeed.
Thanks so much. Thank you.